Donald Trump gave a really weird speech last night where he gaslit the American people about the state of the economy. He spread bile and vitriol about Somali immigrants and tried to spread conspiracy theories about prior elections. But that will not take us away from the core fact that we are 24 hours away from the Epstein files officially being released by the Department of Justice. The Epstein Files Transparency Act, which was forced on the House floor via discharge petition, meaning House members had to subvert Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, the Epstein Files Transparency Act is finally coming to its culmination as tomorrow the files are going to be released. I want to show you this. Donald Trump hasn't posted on Truth Social in 19 hours. He has this random pinned tweet of Sean Hannity from a day ago, but in 19 hours, he hasn't posted a single thing. He gave a weird, ranting, rambling, raving speech last night from the White House that didn't help his case at all. This comes amidst headlines like, what to know about the upcoming Epstein Files release? Well, a new federal law requires the Justice Department to release by Friday a massive trove of investigative documents related to Jeffrey Epstein. The release of the Epstein Files, detailing the probes into the disgraced multimillionaire and sex offender who died in 2019 under Trump's first administration, has attracted significant attention. A veto-proof majority in Congress, in both the House and the Senate, passed a law last month that requires the DOJ to release all of the Epstein-related files. Trump fought hard to stop the law, but then eventually signed it after being outmaneuvered by a bipartisan groundswell of support. That's a very good way to put it. Both Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna, Yasemin Ansari and Lauren Boebert, and Marjorie Taylor Greene. I mean, some unlikely names banded together to put pressure on both sides of Congress, both sides, to sign on to this bill, and it happened. Remember, Epstein survivors have been coming out and telling their stories for a while. Quote, Epstein served me up for Trump's sick pleasure, according to a model. I do want to issue a not safe for work and a trigger warning from here on out. There is some disturbing stuff that we'll talk about. But former model Stacey Williams said Donald Trump groped her at Trump Tower in 1993 while her then boyfriend Jeffrey Epstein watched on in what she described as some sort of twisted game. We've talked about that a lot, but there is a new story coming from Susie Wiles. Susie Wiles essentially admitted Trump was in the Epstein files. Quote, they were young, single playboys together. Susie Wiles said the president is not in the file doing anything awful, but stated that his relationship to Jeffrey Epstein means he's included in the documents which she claims to have read. A further trigger warning here. This has always gone under the radar, but my producer has been telling me to include this one for a while. An article from 2008 from TMZ reads, Trump spreads fertilizer in vodka scandal. Before Trump was even running for president, people knew that he was an absolute creep. Breathe in hard, and you'll catch what Donald Trump is doing. Donald is now casting blame at the 17-year-old girl who ended up naked at his party. I mean, this is just disgusting stuff. The girl showed up at Trump's vodka Super Bowl party, slinging his vodka without a stitch of clothing. She had Trump's name painted on her. There are images that have since been censored, but Trump's name was written on her. And then Donald Trump blamed it on her. Throughout the years, Donald Trump's friendship with Jeffrey Epstein has culminated into, behind-the-scenes parties. In 1994, Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein had a party, just them, and then 17 calendar girls showed up. The person who threw that party, who didn't end up showing up, said that Donald Trump groped his girlfriend later on. I mean, there are just repeated accusations that people don't talk enough about. Continuing on, Trump on Epstein in 2019, after he was arrested, said, I wasn't a fan. I knew him like everybody in Palm Beach knew him. But the New York Times then says, beginning in the late 1980s, the two men forged a bond intense enough to leave others who knew them with the impression that they were each other's closest friend. Donald Trump said in 2004 that Jeffrey Epstein likes them young. I mean, what I'm painting here is a picture of somebody who has repeatedly abused power dynamics, was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein and helped him abuse power dynamics, and now as the president of the United States is using those same power dynamics to cover up his dark past. The Times found that Mr. Epstein was then a little-known financier who cultivated mystery around the scope and source of his self-made wealth. Mr. Trump, 6 years older, was a real estate scion who relished publicity and exaggerated his successes. Neither man drank, neither man did drugs. They pursued women. They both pursued women in a game of ego and dominance. Female bodies to them were currency. Over nearly 2 decades, as Mr. Trump cut a swath through party circuits of New York and Florida, Mr. Epstein was perhaps his most reliable wingman. During the 1990s and early 2000s, they prowled Mr. Epstein's Manhattan mansion and Mr. Trump's Plaza Hotel, at least one of Mr. Trump's Atlantic City casinos, and both of their Palm Beach homes. Jeffrey Epstein groomed girls directly out of Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago spa. Remember, they also visited each other's offices and spoke often by phone, according to other former Epstein employees and women who spent time in his homes. With other men, Mr. Epstein might discuss tax shelters, international affairs, or neuroscience. With Mr. Trump, he talked about sex. The Jeffrey Epstein emails that were released by the House Oversight Committee proved that Jeffrey Epstein said Donald Trump knew about the girls. Donald Trump had his nose pressed up against the glass watching the girls swimming in Jeffrey Epstein's backyard. As this deadline looms and Donald Trump is increasingly silent on social media, yet melting down in front of the nation, I want everybody to remember the stories that I have told throughout this video, because they're not just stories, this is the reality, but repeated stories of Donald Trump grabbing young girls, grabbing young women, and then bragging on camera that he did it because he was allowed to, because stars are allowed to do that. Multiple stories of people saying Jeffrey Epstein served them up to Donald Trump in a sick, twisted game. And finally, the Epstein Files Transparency Act has come to fruition, and we will see accountability. The law, called the Epstein Files Transparency Act, is only 3 pages long, and it spells out in simple language what the Justice Department must release and what it can withhold. The federal government is required to release, quote, searchable and downloadable copies of all unclassified records, documents, communications, and investigative materials related to Epstein and Maxwell that are in possession of the Justice Department or FBI. Remember, Dan Bongino just resigned from the FBI. He is resigning effective January 1st, probably because it's easier to be on the outside of the stuff, making up theories, than on the inside, defending the indefensible. This reads, not later than 30 days after the date of enactment, which was 29 days ago, the Attorney General shall, subject to subsection B, make publicly available in a searchable and downloadable format all of this. Jeffrey Epstein, including all investigations, prosecutorial or custodial matters, everything related to Ghislaine Maxwell, flight logs, travel records, including but not limited to manifests, itineraries, pilot records, customs or immigration documentation for any aircraft, vessel, or vehicle owned, operated, or used by Jeffrey Epstein or any related entity. Individuals, including government officials, named or referenced in connection with Epstein's criminal activities, civil settlements, immunity or plea agreements, or investigatory proceedings. Entities, corporate, nonprofit, academic, with known or alleged ties to Epstein. Documents related to all of this are going to be released, and we are going to cover it on the Adam Mockler feed. Drop a like, subscribe. I love you all, and peace out.